Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Steve Richmond. As I said, I am with Genworth Mortgage Insurance. Just so you know, right now we are going to be recording this webinar. So I just want you to know that. So if somehow you unmute yourself and you decide to talk or something like that, we're all going to record that. So we are going to get started right now. But before I start talking, I want to turn it over to Denise Bond because I know she wants to say hello to everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not. Steve,
We
can you hear me now?
Yep,
Okay,
doing
good.
much better.
I just wanted to welcome everybody. Perfect. Just wanted to welcome everybody to today's webinar. First, I know both Kathy Levice, Kathy, who's the president, is a little under the weather today, nothing serious, but she's actually turned this over to me just to do the introductions. But first, Kathy and I really wanted to thank everybody for joining us today. This has been one of many webinars that we've been doing since the beginning of the year. We have some more scheduled. We're going to take July and August off, and then we'll restart these webinars again in September. And as we go through today's, if you have any questions, please feel free to put something in the chat box or raise your hand, and Steve will be more than happy to address it. Again, we hope both you and your families are well and safe. And Steve, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Denise. I truly do appreciate that. As we start here, let's just say this at the beginning before we get into the meat and substance of the conversation that we're about to have. I am in Raleigh, North Carolina. I know that you all are basically in New York. By no means am I belittling what you all are going through. By no means am I blowing that off. I think about it all the time. I know what's going on across the country right now. It's a very interesting moment in history on several levels. But we're also in business and we need to talk business. So as much as I'm not trying to sound rude or that I'm disregarding some of the other stuff, but I was asked to do a business call. So please know that in our minds and our hearts, we're all thinking about, especially New York being the epicenter of the pandemic that is going on. But we are going to talk about business today, but our thoughts and prayers are absolutely with you. As we do this, and we were talking about it, yes, I will send a copy of this presentation out to each and every one of you. Yes, I'm going to record this, so if you need to get a copy of that, we'll have that available for you as well. So don't you worry about that whatsoever. I'm pretty laid back, casual, and comfortable. If you haven't figured it out, got a question, ask a question, just go into the question or the chat box and type in your question. I'll be good to go. I'm assuming you can see something on your screen that says 9 things to embrace today and keep doing when Corona goes away. Well, but when we sit there and we try and think about that, when Kathy was asking me, oh, how the kids and da-da-da, look, this is the longest I've actually been in my house since 2000. I haven't spent this much time with my wife and my daughter since 20 years ago. And let's just be honest, they haven't thrown me out yet. And the way that I can continue to try and figure out how not to get thrown out of the house is to do things like get them guinea pigs. So yes, that is something that we will be doing later today. But I also noticed that the way that I do business and the way other people are doing business has changed. And the more I thought about it, I was going, well, wait a second. When this whole thing changes up again, are we going to change back to the way that it was? And I don't think that we are. I think that there's some things we can start doing today and we want to continue to do when Corona goes away. So those are the 9 things that I would like to share with each and every one of you today. And the first thing that we talk about when we're trying to figure that out, and hopefully you all just saw the screen change and now it says embrace video at the top of the screen. If it does not say embrace video at the top of the screen, put that in the question box so I'll make sure that I can figure that out. But nobody's saying that, so I assume that it does say embrace video wherever you are. But when I look at video, there's different types of videos. Oh, I got people typing in, so let me just make sure it's working. Hold on. I only see your event details. Okay, looks like an email. All right, hold on a second. This happens sometimes, especially on Mondays when we do it. I'm going to readjust here, so just bear with me 1 second. Always the technology does it to me every time. Now do you see something that says embrace video and there's a green camera that's sitting on there? Yes. Okay, great. I tell you, when you do these webinars on Monday, nobody else has to say yes, I got it now. They change their technologies over the weekend, and there's always going to be something that happens. Oh, well, we dealt with it. Let's move on. So a lot of people say, well, I'm not all into that video stuff. It doesn't really work for me. It's not something that I want to do. And I'm going to tell you, it's time for you to embrace video. And you're going to look at me and go, well, you don't understand, man. I don't like the way I look on video. I don't like the way I sound on video. Well, you don't understand. That's the way you look and sound to each and every one of us every day. So get over it, okay? This is who we are. If you are really uncomfortable with video and you know that people are going to start using more and more video, it's time to get comfortable with it. To me, the best way to get comfortable with it is get a video buddy. I have a woman that I work with. She doesn't like her cell phone video, so she calls me once a week, and we just have a 10-minute phone call about whatever, just until she gets comfortable. Okay, I can handle this video. The easiest way to do something like that is FaceTime. FaceTime is great when it's a one-on-one video. I'm talking to you, you're talking to me, no problem, we're good to go. But there are some other technologies that are out there that I want to share with you and talk to you about. One that is taking off right now is Facebook Live groups. Facebook Live groups. So Facebook Live was originally done to do what? Basically, it recorded me. It was me going live on Facebook, and everybody could see me on video, and they could give me things like thumbs up, or they send me little hearts or whatever emoticons, emojis that they want to send me, or they can type in a question, but they couldn't talk back and forth. Well, Facebook Live groups, which is done through Messenger, is real similar to Zoom. It's actually easier than Zoom, in my opinion. And I did my first 2 of them last week, and I'm finding this take off, and I think you're going to be doing this more and more frequently. This is really great if you're trying to get a group of people to have the conversation together. There's another video service out there called COVID. I think they're going to change their name. I got to be real honest with you. When I see COVID, I don't even see the EO in that name, and I think that name's going to change. So what those are doing that we just talked about is have interactive conversations. But sometimes you want to have, hey, I just want it to record me. It's like being on a television show. I'm not looking for people to talk back. I'm not looking to have a conversation. I really like Videolicious and BombBomb for both of those. So Videolicious, yeah, it's a little bit of a funny name, and BombBomb, that's great if you are going to record yourself and then just send that recording out wherever you want to go. I find that Videolicious works really well if you're trying to email it. I find BombBomb works really well if you're trying to text your video. So I prefer actually Videolicious if I'm doing a email and sending it, BombBomb if it's sending it by text. And of course, there's the wonderful world of Zoom that lots of, especially real estate agents, are using today. So I just want you to be aware of that. Fine, I got it, Steve. I got to embrace my video, but I'm stuck at home. No, this is the best time to practice and rehearse video. But if you're going to talk to a group of real estate agents, you got to call whatever your presentation is, whatever the conversation is, whatever the discussion is, something interesting. Because if you call it, here's what you need to know about forbearance, and let me tell you something, I'm not signing up for that because that sounds boring. So we can call it something like lunch and learn, wine and wisdom. People love alliteration. Quick bites and quick bits, virtual happy hour. I'm not sure if you know this, but alcohol consumption has gone up over 20% since isolation has started. And that includes sale of alcohol to bars and restaurants. So we are still over 20% more than when the bars and the restaurants were open. That's what we're looking at. And imagine if you put, who needs a break, 15 minutes to learn, have fun, and learn 2 new apps. If I was a real estate agent and I was busy, yeah, I got 15 minutes I can spare to do that, and we're good to go. What else do we need to think about when it comes to video? Well, to me, and we sort of talked about this one, I'm the guy on the left, and that's my daughter, Isabel, the most wonderful person I've ever met my entire life, sitting there on the right-hand side. She is 15 years old. She is my video assistant, basically. So what happens is, I think the best tip I can give anybody about video is have somebody with you when you're doing your videos. Why? Let them do the electronics. I don't have to worry about touching the button and am I centered? Is my voice coming through? My bald head, is it reflecting a ridiculous amount of sunlight and therefore blinding everybody that's sitting right there? I don't have to worry about any of that. Isabel's taking care of that for me. But it goes even beyond that. While she's sitting there and holding the camera, and she has to listen to me because she's holding the camera, I've made her laugh. And if you can make a 15-year-old laugh while she's filming you, you're doing something that's interesting and entertaining. I've also watched my daughter reach in her pant pocket and pull out her phone and start texting a friend. When your daughter starts ignoring you and texting other people, that means you're boring and it's time for you to start talking or thinking about something else. So I know, okay, I got to move that conversation in a different direction. A lot of people get uncomfortable saying, well, I feel like I'm just staring at a screen and talking. But when you have somebody else that's there, they react to what you say. They're listening to you. They're laughing. They're frowning. They give you a confused look that says, I don't understand even what you're talking about. Move on, dude. So when you do that, great thing to do. Number one video tip is have somebody producing that video for you, just shooting it for you there live with you. Number two tip, when I create my invitations, and I couldn't do that on this one because we're the full association. We have people from lots of different companies. But let's just say you're going to invite 10 real estate agents. When your invitation, see that little blue part across the top where it says Wine and Wisdom right above that? Go online, either their Facebook page, their business site, whatever, and get their picture. And if you put their picture on the invitation and you write, if you're not here, we will talk about you, they're going to join. See, most people put your own picture on it. Well, you guys don't need to know what I look like. Who cares what I look like? But when you see your own picture on an invitation, you're like, oh my gosh, they really want me to be there, and they put my picture out there, so I better show up because I don't know what they're going to do with my picture. It's a great way to get people more engaged and more involved. But I don't know what to talk about, man. All right, you got a piece of paper in front of you? Go down and list each line 1 through 52. Now that you have 52 lines that are sitting there in front of you, what were the last 52 questions that any customer or real estate agent asked you? If one person asks you that question, other people have that question, you now have 52 weeks worth of content right there, or 1 year's worth of content based upon those 52 questions. Now, I know my friend Denise is sitting out there, and Denise is like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I don't know that that's really what the people are talking about. You know what Denise wants to talk about? I'm going to tell you what Denise wants to talk about. She wants to talk about 4. Bruce just goes, 4? What are you talking about? It's the dumbest thing I ever heard. I don't want to talk about 4. Okay, Bruce, what do you want to talk about? I know what you want to talk about. You want to talk about bears. Carol's going, I don't want to talk about bears. You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about ants. What you're talking about is forbearance, okay? So when we can come up with an interesting way to say what we want to talk about, that's how we get other people engaged. I recommend strongly talking about forbearance at this time. Why? I don't know about you, but I go on social media. I go on Facebook. And you know what I have found? Real estate agent after real estate agent is talking about forbearance out there, and they're doing it wrong. They're saying the wrong things. If we're the expert in it, we can go out there and share that right information and make sure they know what they're doing, and it'll make everybody's life that much better. So that's what we're talking about when it comes to forbearance. But Hernan, I got to tell you something. I wouldn't just call it forbearance because people don't even know what that is. If you're sending out to real estate agents, it's how to lose a customer in 60 seconds and 29 minutes of drinking, right? I mean, think about that just for a second. Yeah, we're going to do a happy hour. It'll be fun. They'll join. But if you tell me how to lose a customer in 60 seconds, yeah, if a person gets a forbearance while they're currently looking for another home so they can sell this home while it's in forbearance, here's the problem. It's going to go boom, boom, boom. Let's get right into the situation. And if you want to send that out to individuals, how to not buy a home in 60 seconds and 29 minutes, right? So when we make it something a little bit more interesting, they're going to jump right on it. Now, Frank's looking at me saying, this is cool, but all my real estate agents and Erica and everybody else, they're all on Zoom. So talk to me a little bit about Zoom. No problem. First thing I want you to do with Zoom is if you're doing Zoom, you know, when you go into your profile settings under personal, there's going to be a gray box that looks like a floating head in there. Change that out where the button says change and put your own picture in it. The reason that is helpful is because if you don't want to put yourself on video, which you should, but if you don't, for whatever reason, it will then at least show a picture as opposed to just your name that's sitting right there. But there's something really cool that Zoom does, and they all do it, but I'm doing Zoom because that's what most people are talking about today, is where I just showed you the profile, but if you go 4 buttons underneath that, you see where it says settings in blue? When it says settings, there's about 20 settings on the right-hand side. Schedule a meeting, host a video, participants video. When you scroll down to the bottom of that page, it will say virtual background. Y'all see that? I want you to take the button that says virtual background and slide it to the right. Slide it to the right. Go from gray to blue, slide it to the right. Because now that we've enabled the virtual background, when we go into our Zoom at the bottom where it talks about camera, you can go choose virtual background, and then it comes up and it says put whatever background you want. You can have yourself or anything else in a field of green, When you're on the ocean, you can have the New York City backdrop sitting right there behind you. Doesn't matter. You have access to anything that you want with the virtual background. Now, if you're asking me, hey, Steve, why don't you use a virtual background? Well, because my computer's a little bit old, and it says that my computer doesn't meet the requirements to choose a virtual background. So it will tell you if it doesn't work, but I would definitely at least try it once. Okay, Matthew? I would definitely do that. Now, Mary, when I'm looking at this, I want you to go up. See where it says virtual background? I want you to go up just a few buttons where it says video. You see that in green right there? It says share screen, audio, video. You with me on that, Matthew, Mary? Okay. So when you get to video, then you go to the right-hand side of the page. It says my video. You see where it says enable HD? Don't do it. Why? When you enable HD, you get to see all the gray that's in my hair. You get to see the black bags that are under my eyes because I didn't sleep well last night. If you got a pimple, you're going to see that too. I much prefer touch up my appearance because when you do touch up my appearance, it makes you a little fuzzy. It doesn't enable your HD, so you can get away with stuff. So you'll be able to get through that. Hey, Kevin, brother, I'm with you that your computer does not have enough bandwidth to set your background. Neither does mine. So you and I are in the same boat. I'm sorry to hear that. One day, maybe we'll go out and we'll get buddy computers that have more bandwidth for them. But for right now, I hear you, Kevin. We got to be there. But when you get under my video, I definitely recommend you hit touch up my appearance. So what we just did is we talked just for a little bit on how to start to embrace video. And video is not going to go away when Corona goes away. See, I was the first person who said, I think texting is stupid. If I have a phone and my phone has emails, you can just email me. Isn't that the same as the text? Oh, no, texting is more efficient. Go to text. So now everybody does texting. Now they're going to start doing video. I promise you. So now that we've done video, what else do you need to do? Well, there's something, and there's a movie, and this movie comes from a state, and that state and the city is called New York. And there's this movie called Glengarry Glen Ross. And I don't know if you've ever seen Glengarry Glen Ross, but if you've never seen it, you need to see it if you're in sales. Glengarry Glen Ross is one of the greatest sales movies of all times. And a young Alec Baldwin walks in and he looks at his sales team because he's the manager, and he's not a nice guy. Okay, he's pretty much a jerk. And he goes, let me tell you something. Let me tell you about the ABCs of sales. Always be closing. That's right. Always be closing. I don't want to hear an objection. I don't want to hear a problem. You should always be closing. I say that's Glengarry Glen wrong. Why? Because in today's world, I think it's ABL. What's ABL? Always be learning. So much is changing so fast. Freddie's changing their guidelines every day. Fannie's changing the rules on foreclosure are changing every day. Self-employed borrower, not self-employed. Are you going behind? Is it going? Everything is changing like crazy. So we need to continue to learn what's going on around us. First thing we need to learn about is how to do video. Second thing, if you haven't subscribed for Chrisman's newsletter, I don't know what you're doing. Rob Chrisman is the #1 mortgage newsletter in the United States of America. It comes out 6 days a week. It is absolutely free, and it will always be free. What I love about it is not only does it tell you what's going on in the industry, it will tell you specifically what your competition is doing, which is very important for all of us to know. If you care about the economy, I love econ70.com. That's econ, ECON 70.com. Why? Because econ70.com is a guy named Elliot Eisenberg. He comes out Monday through Friday, and he will send you an email that says, this is what happened in the economy today, and he does it in 70 words or less. If you're looking for a podcast in regards to this, Dave Licken is the #1 mortgage podcast in the United States of America. I know that says live at Mondays at 12 p.m., but that is Dallas time. So he is actually doing his podcast right now while we're talking about him. That's okay because the podcasts are recorded and you can download it and get the information. Now, Denise Bond's giving me the evil eye right now. She's going to say she's not, but I know Denise. She's looking at me. She says, hey, when are you going to talk about Genworth? Well, if you go to Genworth, we have a blog site that's sitting right there. A lot of videos are on it. A lot of blogs are on it. You can read. You can get really all the information you want. There's a guy named Tian Liu. He is our economist, and once a quarter he does a first-time home buyer report. It actually just came out last week for this quarter. So I recommend you take a look at that. It's filled with stats and facts, and I think that will help you a lot, Neil. So go check that one out. and you can say, okay, got it, no problem. What else do we need to learn about? I want to share with you a couple apps right now that I want you to learn about, and you can share these with your customers and or your real estate agents. This one is called Paint Tester. Why, Phil? Why do you need to know about this one? Well, because during this time of Corona COVID, my wife started using this one. How what? So my wife, wonderful, wonderful person. She's sitting in her office right now. I'm actually in the dining room of our house. And she has been working from home more than she ever has in her life because of what's going on. And she just can't stand to look at the walls in her office anymore. So she has all these little paint chips that are sitting around her office, like taped up to the wall to try and figure out which one she wants to use and which color she's going to paint her office. I said, honey, get rid of that. Those paint chips. Here's what we're going to do. Download Paint Tester. When you download Paint Tester on your phone, you take a picture of the room, you take a picture of the paint chip, and it repaints the room that color. So what just happened was we had a painting party about 3 weekends ago now. Okay. 3 weekends ago now, and we totally redid her office, and it looks a totally different color now. By doing it through Paint Tester, you can see what it's going to look like. That's like, you'll know, okay, that's going to be a really good color. That's where I want to go. I really like Around Me. What is Around Me? Around Me is for you or your customer to say, hi, I have Around Me on my phone. Tell me within 3 miles, every restaurant, every school, every basketball court, every bowling alley, every library, whatever it is, it will tell you what is around you. So when you're looking for a house, you can see that. I know you're in New York and world's a little different right now, but the first state really to open up was Georgia. Well, what happened in Georgia? The first things that they opened up were what? Tattoo parlors and bowling alleys. Now, I'm not much into tattoos. To look at me is to know that. And I'm not much of a bowler. To look at me is to know that also. I'm a guy who looks like he really likes math. So, but if I'm saying I just need to get out of the house, I like to go get a tattoo, I literally can go to Around Me, type in tattoo parlor, and it will show me within distance of where I'm standing where all the close tattoo parlors are, or bowling alleys, or whatever you want. So that's sitting right there really lets you learn. This new one, not new one, it's hopefully new to you. This is my current favorite website that's out there. It's called Remove.bg, REMOVE.bg. Now, you see it says for free, and you see where it says select a photo. It's the green little circle at the bottom that's sitting right there, Mike. So what happens is when I go to select a photo, what do? That's my daughter, Isabel. It's a little bit old. She has braces there. But, okay, so that's the picture of my daughter. When I put her through Remove.bg, it doesn't come out looking like this. It comes out looking like that. It strips the background right out of it, so it features whatever you want to have featured. So if somebody is sitting there and saying, hey, I want to sell this house, but all of a sudden in the background there's what? Dead trees or power lines or who knows what? Put the house, take a picture of it, go to Remove.bg, and now you just have the house, and that's the only thing that will be focused on, Rosemary. Isn't that pretty cool? You can do that totally free, and it makes it that much better and easier to use. That is not a white background. There is no background. This is called TaskRabbit. TaskRabbit's really, really cool. But TaskRabbit is for manual labor. So if you buy your house or an apartment or a condo, whatever it is, and you say, but I want to go hang up a flat screen TV, but I don't know how to do that, you go to TaskRabbit and you say, I want somebody to hang a flat screen TV, and it will say these 100 people will do it for you. It does pricing, and it does customer reviews of how it was done. So if you need to do anything physical, you need to install ceiling fans, you want to hang a TV, there's some landscaping. As long as it's physical, go to TaskRabbit, and your customer can get that done. But for you and your real estate agents, you're not really worried about the physical right now, but you need a virtual assistant. You need somebody who can get things done for you electronically, especially if you're in isolation. That's what Fiverr is. Please note how Fiverr is spelled, Fiverr, Fiverr. When you go to Fiverr, what that says is you type in any virtual thing that you could want, and people will start bidding on it starting at $5, okay? So if you say I have 2,000 business cards and I want them all to be converted into an Excel spreadsheet, and I hate typing it and I'm not going to do it, You go to Fiverr and people will say, oh, I'll do that, and this is how much I'll charge you. Really cool, really easy. For real estate agents, they all want a business page on Facebook, but they don't know how to do it. When that little box right there next to that green square rectangle that says search, you can just type in right there, hey, want to create a Facebook page for business page for a real estate agent. Boom, it will come up and it will tell you, here's people that will do that for you and what they'll charge. Love Fiverr, great way to get things done. This next one is a blast. Oh, this one's a blast. The next one's even a bigger blast. How about that? I forgot. I got 2 left. I thought I only had 1. This is called Unroll.me. Dig it, man. How many of you get too many what? Too many emails. Oh, my God. Every day, all I get are emails. It drives me crazy. Why? Because as soon as somebody gets your email address, they subscribe you into their whole email program. Unroll.me, go to unroll.me. You type in your email address. It then looks through all your emails and says, you have 146 email subscriptions. It then lists all 146 email subscriptions, and next to each one, it will say either keep or unroll. Keep or unroll. So therefore, in less than 3 minutes, you can organize your entire inbox of your email. There is one thing that you do need to know about when it comes to this service. If you are getting an email and you're in a subscription from a place called Genworth Mortgage Insurance, you are not allowed to unroll that. You must keep that, because if I told you about it, you're not allowed to get rid of me that easily, okay? But the other one that I want to talk about, because I've just started using this one, is called Kahoot. If you don't know what Kahoot is, I'd like to share it with you. Where did I learn about it? My daughter, Izzy, because this is how they're teaching her in school right now. I don't know about where you all live, but where I live, it's Tuesday night is trivia night at the bars. You know what I'm saying? At the bars. Tuesday night trivia night. Come on in. We're playing trivia. Kahoot allows you to play trivia with people who do not have to be there, because everyone plays it off of their phone. So therefore, no matter where everybody is, they're looking at their phone, they're getting the same question, and they're plugging in multiple choice and answer, and it judges it by speed and everything else as to who got it right, who got it wrong. When you go to Kahoot, you can either say, give me a Kahoot on U.S. history, or give me a Kahoot on Harry Potter or the NFL, or whatever you want to do it on, and there'll be millions of games out there. Or you can create your own trivia game with your own questions about whatever you want it to be. So what you've just done is you've engaged your entire audience, and you're bringing them in at one time where they're all getting the same information. They're competing against each other, and the winner gets a $10 Starbucks card or something like that. So when you look at Kahoot, it's a great way to be interesting, entertaining, and at the same time involving with everybody that's on there. Some of the stuff is free, some of it does cost, so you have to figure out what you're trying to accomplish, but it's pretty darn cheap. Schools use it, I promise you that. That's number 2, always be learning. Number 3, well, I know you, I know me. When I think New York, I think every single thing in the world can be tied back to a Seinfeld episode. I don't care what it is, it can all be tied back to a Seinfeld episode. And people keep talking about a brand, but let me tell you about your brand just for a second. Just like George is not allowed to make up his own nickname, you're not allowed to make up your own brand. You know why? Because the minute you say, call me T-Bone, they're going to start calling you Coco. Okay? So that's where we are. When it comes to brand, you know who actually owns your brand? You do not own your brand. You know who owns your brand? The customer owns your brand. You own your message, you own your actions, but they're the ones who interpret that, and they own your brand. What happens is, what you say or what you think when you're not there, that's what your brand is. So as much as you say that my brand is this, if that's not really what you do and that's not what people think about when you're not there, that's not your brand. Does that make sense? You can't give yourself your own nickname, and you earn your brand in the eyes, in the mind of your customer. Now, when I start to think about my brand and we try to differentiate ourselves from the competition, I always say, what's your unfair advantage? What do you do better than other people? What are your strengths? What are your passions? What do I mean by what are my strengths? What are my passions? Well, a lot of people will always tell you, work on your weaknesses. Well, then you're not going to have any fun at work. You know why? if I'm really good at something, shouldn't I be leveraging that to get my business? If I really enjoy a certain aspect of it, shouldn't I be leveraging that to get my business? You need to play to your strengths and play to your passions. Now, hopefully your strengths and your passions go underneath your corporate brand. Genworth is my corporate brand. You know what they are? They're an insurance company. I'm that MI guy, right? I'm a little bit flip. I'm a little bit sarcastic. I talk a lot. So you just have to make sure that there's some consistency between that corporate brand and your personal image, your personal brand. That's okay. But let me show you what I mean about playing to your strengths and playing to your passion. The guy I work with, his name is Dave. Real good guy, good-looking guy, good-looking dresser, always got a big smile on his face, smart guy, real smart guy, knows what's going on. But you know what else he does? He's got a dog. He loves his dog. He's got more pictures of his dog on his Facebook page than he has on anything else. You know what? He took that passion for his dog, and anytime he walks into an office, you know the first thing they ask him about? They don't ask him about MI. They ask him about his dog, Wiggles. Yeah, I even know the dog's name because that he's introduced his dog into his brand because that's what he's interested in. That's my friend. I bet you can guess what her brand is or what her name is. Look at the picture for a second. Come on, Steve, look at that picture. Yeah, who is that? That's Pinky. That's my friend Sue Pinky Benson. Guess what? She's got pink hair. She wears pink clothes. She embraces that pink brand. But she's a real estate agent. She doesn't just do everything in pink. She's the best video production person I have seen of any real estate agent in the country. So what she does is she's showing all of Southwest Florida through video. And she helps real estate agents and mortgage professionals up their video game as well. So you can follow her on Facebook, Sue Pinky Benson, and you'll be able to grow your video performance as well. I work with another guy. His name is Brian. He's a lot like me. What is he like? He loves trivia. Every Friday at 9 o'clock, he sends out a trivia question to 500 people in his database. It says first person to respond to this with the right answer wins a $5, $10 Starbucks gift card. So he has, as part of his brand, every Friday, and he does it Friday on purpose. Why? Because he works with real estate people. What's their week really look like? It starts on Friday because we all know real estate is being sold on Saturday and Sunday. That's when it's happening. So he sends it out on Friday, and he has people thinking about him at 9 o'clock Friday morning. Boom. He introduced that part of his brand, and that's what they think of when he's not there. So the third thing I'd love for you to embrace is your brand. The next thing I want you to embrace is your inner spider. Sounds sort of creepy, sounds sort of gross, but I'm going to talk about your inner spider. Why? Because when we look at spider, Matthew, think about this for a second. Did you realize that 95% of the spider webs that you see were spun by a female spider? So when a female, when she weaves her web, yes, she's putting silks all in a circle, making it very dynamic, making it sticky, make it capture its prey. But the real important part of that web are the anchor or the foundation points. It has to be attached at one side to a brick, to a piece of concrete, to a tree, to a limb, to a leaf, to a bush, right? To a stick, whatever it is, the web has foundation or anchor points that hold the web in place. And that gives the web the structure that feeds the prey into the web. Same thing. We need to have many referral sources, many foundations that are feeding customers into our funnel. So we need friends and family, F&F, past customers. We need social media. We need title companies, real estate agents, builders, web pages. We need all of these things to be able to feed that into our funnel. Another thing we need as a strong structural point of our web, it says community and charity cause. The reason I didn't say that just about your inner spider is it's something else that I would love for you to embrace. As we're going through COVID, as we're going through Corona, people are being, quite frankly, when it comes to that, nicer than they've been ever. They're coming together. They're saying, I need to help out at a food bank or at a soup kitchen. My neighbor came over a couple of weeks ago when this started, and she baked us a pie and said, let it just sit for 2 days. You're going to be okay. I just want you to know we're here for you. I mean, we are embracing our community and our charity causes greatly today. And when this is all over, we should continue to embrace the community and the charity cause. Why? Well, I'm involved in 2 charities, the Bright Side of the Road Foundation and the Florence Fourth Foundation. Now, when you, and I say this as part of business, okay? When you embrace a charity or a community cause, first off, if let's say you're raising money for it, the victims of that cause, the victims of that disease, of that problem, of that pandemic, they get benefit from it. So that's the first win, right? We raise money, we're helping find a cure. There's benefit for that individual who's suffering from that. But it doesn't stop there. See, when I do work with that Florence Fourth Foundation, they sponsor a road race every single year. Well, I ain't much of a runner, but I talk a lot and I DJ. So what do? I DJ and MC that race. There's about 1,500 people that run that race. You know what I just did? That's a business win for me. I just got to meet 1,500 new people that had no idea who I was before that race, and now they definitely know who I am. When you get involved with a community or a charity cause, you broaden your base of potential customers, of people you know. That's a huge win. But what the third win is what? When they get to know you, they know you based upon what? That you're a giving person to the community and the charity, so they already have a positive opinion about you. We all know that people say, oh, people like to do business with people that they know, they like, and they trust. Well, if they met you through a charity, they already know you, like you, and trust you because they see that you give back to the community, you give back to a charity. And lastly, I promise you this. If you do something for somebody else, you end up feeling better about yourself. I'll say that again. When you do something for somebody else, you end up feeling better about yourself. I have to get up at about 4:30 in the morning to go DJ and MC that race. By noon, I'm very tired, but I'm tired with a smile on my face. Why? Because not only did I help somebody else, I feel better about myself because I did it. So when we're looking about things to embrace today and continue to do when Corona goes away, embrace a community or a charity cause. I am sitting here, and it actually just came into my mind. I was about to say, I don't know what today's date is, but because it's the first of the month, I actually do know that it is January 1st. But most days I don't even know what day of the week it is anymore, right? So when I look at not knowing what day it is, what date it is, I want to tell you that today is January 2nd. And I want to tell you tomorrow's January 2nd. And I want to tell you the next day is January 2nd. And I want to tell you the next day is January 2nd. Why? Because I think January 2nd is stupid. Because on January 2nd is when we all start our resolution. Why? Why on this arbitrary date are we going to do the thing that we needed to start doing because it's better for us? Folks, don't wait for January 2nd. Today is January 2nd. I'm going to exercise more. Great. Today's January 2nd. Start today. I'm going to start eating more healthy. Great. Today's January 2nd. Start today. I'm going to start to embrace video. I'm going to start writing a blog. I'm going to call 2 customers a day. You want to know something you can do? And I say this to each and every one of you. I'm telling you it's going to work. Start it today. Don't wait for some arbitrary date. Start today. We're saying embrace video, and I'm going to talk about some other things later. Maybe starting today, you say, I'm going to send an email to 2 customers just to say, not even talk business. Hi, I know the world's going through a lot right now. I just want to check in and see how you're doing because I was thinking about you. Be done right there. I guarantee you will get response to that. And now you're getting on a very different and personal level with that customer. I do this personally. I've been doing this since this whole thing started because we've all been isolated. I send out to 2 salespeople, and Denise and I have been talking a lot through this, to 2 salespeople, and I send out to 1 internal person because I think those are my customers, right, at my office. And all it says is, man, the world's really crazy right now. I was thinking about you. How are you doing? I have gotten some of the best conversations and the best feedback from doing that because all of a sudden I'm connecting with somebody on a personal level. Do it. It will work, and it's going to help you make that relationship happen. Now, I love music. Kathy knows this. I love music a lot. Michael, I don't know if you know this, but I love music. And when I was in college, and I told you I DJ these road races, when I was in college, I used to DJ every fraternity and sorority party that I could find. That was the best gig ever. But I will tell you this, if you're DJing a sorority party and you don't play some Sister Sledge, We Are Family, I got to tell you something. You aren't going to last very long at that party. You'll never get invited back. What do I mean by that? Folks, we are family. Our industry is one big family. You need to get involved with the association. You need to get involved with the pack. Why? Because every single mortgage professional wants exactly the same thing. We want a quality, strong housing market. We want right appreciation. We want low rates. We want fair regulation. We want smart rules and laws. We all want the exact same thing. Stop looking at other people and saying, I can't believe how they're doing that. They're destroying the entire thing. No. Everybody's trying to figure out we all want the same thing. Why not learn from the competition? I tell you this, and I've watched it with your association. I've seen your association have people that are very good friends that work for different companies. I've watched with your association, I've watched with my own company and my own industry, the mortgage insurance industry, where the competition has actually referred me business. Hey, sorry, I can't get that one done, but I know somebody, even though they're not at the same institution, I'm going to send them over to them because I think they can get it done. Let me tell you, when you do that, you're getting more referrals. Stop fighting. We're all rowing in the same direction. Which takes me just to a few more that I want you to think about embracing. One of those, and I'm a movie guy. That's from the movie Major League. It's a guy named Pedro Serrano. He's now this Allstate. He's the Allstate guy. He's on all the commercials. But in the Pedro Serrano in Major League, he had a problem. He was a great batter, but he couldn't hit the curve. Folks, you got to embrace the curve. What's another way to say embrace the curve? Don't count your chickens before they hatch. I don't know what's going to happen, but something's going to happen. I don't know. I have a commercial real estate friend. He was about to close the biggest deal of his life, and then Corona came to town, and everything got shut down. And now the people who were going to buy the property said, we're out. Sorry, we're not doing this. Ain't no way, because now everybody's stuck at home. He had his biggest deal disappeared the day before he was about to make his largest deal happen. Oh my gosh, the appraisal came in low. Oh my gosh, the real estate agent is 20 minutes late getting to the appointment or didn't call me back. Oh, when we're looking at it, interest rates are going up. Interest rates are going down. Folks, there's always going to be a curveball. Something happened on the title work. I didn't know about this. Something's always going to come up. You can look at it one of two ways. I knew something was going to come up, so it's just a little bit of a mess. Let me see how I can fix it. Or, oh my God, this always happens. It's so hard. I can't stand it. See, when you say something is so hard, that means it's going to be difficult till the end of time. So what's the point of trying? When you say that it's just a mess can always be cleaned up. My daughter Isabel, she looks at me, she says, Dad, life's hard. I'm like, don't I know it? No, I would never say that. When she looks at me and says life is hard or math is hard, if I say yes, that means she's going to go, so why should I continue to do this? It's always going to be hard. I hate it. It's not hard. You know what it is? It's a little messy. She knows that it's empowering when you use those kinds of words and you just say, it's a little mess. How do I clean it up? Here's one more. And this is the last one that we have. How are we going to get through this time sane, happy, together, not divorced, not thrown out on the street by my daughter? How are we going to make this happen? How much does it cost to keep my sanity during these days? And the answer is 2 G's. And when I say 2 G's, I don't mean $2,000. I mean 2 G's, grace and gratitude. Folks, if you introduce grace and gratitude into your life will be better. Your business will be better. Start it today. It's January 2nd and continue to do it when COVID goes away. What is grace? When I look at grace, grace is just a way of looking at somebody else and saying, I'm going to give you a break. I have a friend, his name is Jay. He used to say, if you took everybody's problems in the world and you dumped them into a big pot, you jump in and grab your problems back because everybody has a problem that you don't know about. It's having grace. It's dealing with the problem politely. It's when somebody cuts you off in traffic, don't cuss them out. Say, oh my gosh, I hope nobody's in the hospital. I hope everybody's okay. It's when the real estate agent is 15 minutes late. You don't say, they're such an idiot. Why do they always do that? You know how these real estate agents are. It's saying, wow, they're probably homeschooling their kids. I hope their kid is able to get whatever it is that their parents trying to help them to do. Have a little grace, and then have some gratitude. Gratitude's hard today. What is gratitude? It's finding little things to say thank you for. It's the little victory. And I'm not trying to be rude when I say this or whatever, but I'm in North Carolina. And I woke up and the sun is shining, and my wife's doing all right, my daughter's doing all right, my son's doing all right. I had a little gratitude and said, all right, it's going to be a good day. But it goes even beyond that. Do you know I actually have gratitude for GoToWebinar? If you don't know what GoToWebinar is, it's the platform that you're on right now taking this video call on. It's called GoToWebinar. Why? Because if somebody hadn't invented GoToWebinar, I probably would have lost my job. But because somebody invented GoToWebinar, and I have you wonderful people on this call, hopefully you're enjoying this, guess what? I've kept my job, and I got paid, and I'm not in foreclosure, and there's still a roof over my head. I'm grateful that I'm in North Carolina every day. You want to know why? Because down here, we have rules in regards to going to the barn. My daughter, Isabel, is a horseback rider. You saw her with the helmet and the blue ribbons. During this entire thing, barns have been allowed to be open as long as there's only one rider on a horse. That's it. You can't have 5 horses out. It's one rider per horse. That's it. Well, guess what? She goes to the barn 3 days a week. Why? School's over. She has absolutely nothing to do. Imagine being a 15-year-old girl with nothing to do. I'm grateful that the barn's open, but I want to take that one step further. Her trainer and the owner of the barn is a woman named Heather. Great woman, great trainer. She had Izzy on a horse. It was about 2 weeks ago. The horse's name was Bentley. And after she got off the horse, the trainer said, hey, Izzy, Bentley's stall is really messed up. Will you go muck the stall? If you don't know what mucking a stall means, it basically is taking either a shovel or a pitchfork and getting rid of all the, shall we say, waste and debris and cleaning up the stall. You with me on that? And my daughter said, sure. She was just happy to be out of the house and around the horses. And then she gave Bentley a peppermint, and he snuggled with it. Oh, it's wonderful. It's so cute. No problem. We get home. I walk upstairs, and I look at her room. I say, hey, Izzy, how about you muck your room, because it's worse than Bentley's stall. I've never seen anything that looks this horrible. And you know what her response was? I'm tired, Dad. Maybe later. Now, at that point in time, what did I want to do? I had gratitude. I was thankful that Heather had the barn, and she was able to go and be with the horses and the things that she loves. But right then and there, she goes, I'm tired because I had to clean up and I had to ride a horse. It was time for me to execute and exhibit grace. See, think about this for 1 second. She's a 15-year-old girl who hasn't seen her friends in 8 weeks. She's a 15-year-old girl who doesn't know when school is going to start again next semester. She's a 15-year-old girl who doesn't know what she's going to do this summer because she doesn't know if we're going to be able to take a family vacation or if there's going to be camp. You think it's hard for us? You think there's a lot going on that it's really messy for us? It is. But in a 15-year-old girl's mind, it's 10 times harder. And that works for a 15-year-old boy too, don't get me wrong. So instead of that, I said, hey, you know what? You're right. Why don't you relax? And when you're ready, call me up. And why don't we clean your room up together? You know what all of a sudden happened? I'm grateful. I'm actually grateful for this because this is the longest time I'd be able to spend with my wife and my daughter. You got to find the little wins. You got to find the little positivities. You got to write to your customers and say, I'm just thinking about you. How are you? That's how we take grace and gratitude and we move it forward. So when we think about it and we want it all to happen, we have to embrace video. We have to embrace that every day is January 2nd. We need to start today. We have to always be learning, and we have to embrace the curve to be able to hit it. We have to embrace our brand and understand that the customer is the one who owns the brand, and embrace your inner spider by going out to multiple sources to feed us that business. You have to embrace that we are a community of people that are all doing this together, and embrace a charity or a community cause. And when you do all that, and you embrace 2 Gs, You'll get through this sanely, you'll get through this well, and you'll get through this successfully. We can all do it together. So what questions, thoughts, comments, concerns do you have about anything we've talked about, anything we haven't talked about, or anything you wished we had talked about? If you want, you can just raise your hand there and I'll unmute you so you can ask your question out loud, or just type into the question box any question that you have, and I'd be happy to answer it at this time. If you don't have a question, I have a question for you. I've been talking for about 45 minutes. Was this 45 minutes well spent? Did you get some good information? Are you glad that you were here? Yes, I see one question. Are we going to get a copy of the presentation? Yes, I will send out a copy of this presentation. Each and every one of you will get it. One person just wrote, Steve, this was a great webinar. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I just want to make sure that we're hitting what you all want me to do. Anything else? This was great. Good info. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you. I'm not begging for compliments. I promise you that, but I do want to make sure that we're delivering what you all need. Folks, stay healthy, stay safe. I appreciate you all being here today. I hope you have a great week. Take care and be good to one another. Thanks. Bye-bye.